Arsenal Football Club have been knocked out of the Carabao Cup, the League Cup in England, by Newcastle United. This makes it the second competition this season that they have been knocked out of, having previously been knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester United. Is it time for Arsenal to start looking inward? For more on this story, stay tuned to Take Our Stakes. When Arsenal took on Newcastle United in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final, it seemed the job was easy. They were the better placed team on the Premier League table. They were the team that seemed in form, and on paper at least, they have the better quality players and the better style of play. So Newcastle knew they had their work cut out for them. First of all, they were playing at the Emirates Stadium, so they didn't have the home ground advantage. And then they were playing against a team that liked to pass the ball around, so they knew they were not going to dominate ball possession. So they set up strategically. It was a low block. They sat deep and they were planning that whenever they got the ball, they could make fast breaks with pacey players like Aaron Gordon and Murphy, and also their lethal striker, especially this season, who knows how to play on the shoulder of the last defender in Isak. And that was the plan. In midfield, of course, it was Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton. These are tough midfielders who can tackle for the ball and stop play, and can also create opportunities for those fast players to run at the Arsenal defense. Brilliant plan. And so for 90 minutes, well, let's say 95 minutes, Newcastle gave the Arsenal players the ball. And so Arsenal dribbled and dazzled and did all they could with the ball, but they couldn't break that low block. And the Arsenal Football Club struggles against team that plays the low block. So it made it hard for them, because Arsenal teams usually they like to walk the ball into the back of the net. Unfortunately, with sitting deep like Newcastle did, there is no space for players to maneuver. And so Arsenal was frustrated, possession after possession, pass after pass. And of course, Newcastle got their quick breaks where they were able to get 2 goals from that game to carry a 2-goal lead from the first leg into the second leg. Now, come the second leg, you would have assumed that Mikel Arteta sat with his boys, watched that game, and decided, okay, we're going to play differently. Newcastle, on the other hand, didn't need to change anything. They already had the 2-goal advantage. They were now playing at home, and so sitting deep and hitting Arsenal on the counter was an apt one. Unfortunately for the Gunners, they missed one key thing. You didn't have to change the style of play. All the Gunners needed to do was change the pace. Because Newcastle were never going to come out. You can't pull them out. And so, what Arsenal needed to do was increase the pace of the game, so that with that increased pace and accurate pass, they can pull some Newcastle players out of position and then run in behind the defenders and put the ball on the back of the net. But instead, all through the game, Arsenal was playing at a patient pace, which meant that Newcastle didn't need to hurry up. Newcastle players weren't pulled out of position. Newcastle players weren't under any kind of pressure whatsoever. And so the match, the second leg of the match, where Arsenal was supposed to pull off a brilliant comeback, was the second leg of a match that was the easiest defeat Arsenal has ever gotten, or you could say the easiest win Newcastle has ever gotten, because they were playing at a comfortable pace. It was convenient for them. They were playing at home. The crowd was behind them, and they had the 2-goal lead. And so the only people under pressure were the people that should have been putting pressure on the other side, the Gunners. And that's what happened when Arsenal lost the ball and then conceded the first goal from Isak. And then their goalkeeper made another mistake and then gave up the second goal. And so a fixture that could have seen Arsenal progress to the League Cup final and maybe contend for a trophy this season is one of the easiest defeats they've ever given away. Is it time for Arsenal fans and Arsenal players to start looking within, looking in the mirror to see that they may be the problem? Or do we still wait and blame the referees?